place. Connect with verified users and businesses. Join in on our online and in-person networking events, and even boost your knowledge with our e-learning resources. With an integrated wallet system, Bizio makes managing your online presence easy and stress-free. So why wait? Sign up for Bizio today and experience the power of simplicity.
Hello and welcome to BizzTalk, Behind the Business Scene. My name is Patricia and I'll be your host this evening. Just a kindly reminder, for all our guests from Serbia, please click the subtitle icon down below. As you may know, BizzTalk is an informative talk show where every Wednesday we dive into minds of business leaders of different professions and give you opportunity to understand their drive and help you to pick up a trick or two to help your business succeed. Today I am joined by Tatjana Milnovic, Global Brand Strategist at the Croatian company Infobip, the country's first ever unicorn. Our main topic discussion is going to be branding in the tech industry and how it relates to adapting to the market and the new trends. We'll be also discussing some innovative approaches and tips for 2023, as well the importance of work culture and successful branding. Welcome and thank you for taking your time.
Thank you, Patricia. Thank you for this invitation. I'm really glad to be here and to talk about one of my favorite subjects, which is actually branding. So when I look from the perspective of all those Gen Zs, tech enthusiasts out there, I often get a sense that this topic is getting to be quite ancient in a madman kind of sense. Especially now in this fast-moving AI-fascinated world. So I'm really excited to be here and talk a little bit more about this topic and branding in tech.
So yeah, let's just dive right into the questions. To start off, can you explain what branding means in the context of the tech industry?
So Patricia, actually, it means nothing and it means everything. So when you look at tech and you compare it to branding, you can see like two opposite sides actually when you look at it. So tech on one side is fascinating enough by itself. So some could argue, why would you need branding in the first place? Tech is so interesting and fascinating by itself, so it doesn't need driving attention, right? Tech is fun, interesting, raising interest and engagement almost instantly. So they have taught us to never settle with the gadget or app that is like a year old, right? So it's like an ancient history if it's old, and it's like you always need to have this FOMO. If you are not in the newest, freshest tech, then you're old, right? So it's hard to keep up, and you always have this feeling that you're really lagging behind, even if you are in the tech, in the heart of the tech itself. We always have this feeling, like especially we are in tech industry, we have the feeling that we are always like late for something. So on the other side, you have branding. So when you look at branding, actually, I've been in this industry, in branding industry, I think more than 20 years now. So it's a little bit embarrassing to say, but it's quite some time. So when I look at it, and I've been working in different industries, not much has changed essentially in the heart of branding, why it is needed and how it is created. So the branding still revolves around building this unique and compelling good old story. So driving attention and keeping the pulse, keeping your pulse up is the key thing at branding. So branding is still about building this genuine emotion. And when I said genuine emotion, it means in a steadily and really heavy way. So emotions like all kinds of emotions of amazement, of excitement, of thrill, of freedom, building sense of power, recognition, or just giving pure, simple control over things, that kind of emotions. Also, sometimes it's building some other emotions, also using it powerfully in branding. So, using sadness, empathy, fear as well. It's all about building emotions. So, this is in the heart of the branding. And that is where actually branding gets really human. And that is the most powerful thing about the branding. When it becomes human, then it's the real branding. So, branding in its essence is about making companies and their stories more human like. Branding is about making something that it's in its creation, like business and companies. It's not created to be human, right? It's created to take profit. But the business of the branding is to make it more human. And that is essentially the art in itself. So now you have the tech and the branding, and you need to connect those two. So we can see that there is a clash, right? But we also can see a unique opportunity. Tech is in itself is like a fast and furious, rebellious, challenging all the time, while branding is a little bit more slow and steady and does not change that fast. When you create the branding, you create it for a longer time. You don't go and change it as you change campaigns. So it's like when you need to brand a company in tech, it's like teaching a young, restless spirit who wants to take over the world by storm because they have created the amazing product everybody wants and everybody was waiting for. And you are asking this restless spirit to pause and think first and figure out who they really are before they even take this big, exciting leap into the unknown that they are so excited to go forward. And the market itself is pushing them to do that. So the market does not make it easy on tech companies. It has no mercy. Does not wait for you to figure out who you really are in order to create another innovative feature or a product. So the market is pushing you. So what actually happens with branding and tech? You, at the end of the day, you decide as you go. It's like you need to create branding as you go. You need to always listen to what is there in the market. You need to create products simultaneously as you create branding. And both have to make compromises on that journey. So tech needs to keep on challenging, keep this robust, rebellious mindset all the time, and keep this branding alive and challenge the branding itself to test and rethink if we are doing the right thing for the brand. And brand needs to remind the tech continuously why it is there for people in the first place, why we created all these products, why we are innovating. And why this is actually the why is the purpose, and that is the branding, making sense of it all at the end of the day. So that is why I think branding has never been more simple and practical and useful, and because of tech is driving it to be that way. So I think that nevertheless, people will always be driven by emotions first and more when they choose to buy something. And not just to give their money, but also time, which is becoming more and more precious than just money. And no simplicity can be prioritized over emotions there. So I think when we're talking about branding, we are talking about emotions first. And when we're talking about tech, we are talking about this energy that we need to build as well. So both live in a quite good harmony there.
And how important is for the tech companies to adopt the new trends quickly when it comes to the branding?
So I would say it's really, really important. This is like an obvious answer, right? You need to keep up. You need to keep innovating all the time. Uh, but also there is a trick there because it's ruthless and like a wild west out there in the tech industry. Who gets something out first wins, right? But it's not like that, really. It's not all about innovation. It's not just innovating the product, but also innovating the way we're creating the journey and experience for the end user. And now I'm in the B2B business, and Infobip, being a global leader in cloud-based communication business, and Infobip is primarily selling solutions to businesses and to business people. We are thinking, okay, these are all people who are tech educated and experienced in tech, and we also partner and sell to developers and engineers as well. So one would assume, oh, okay, it's an easy job. So we just need to explain what we actually build in a better way than the competitors are doing, right? But it's not that easy, actually. When you look around, you see that all competitors are maybe selling the same products and telling the same story. So in the tech industry, it's actually really crucial to find a simple way to say your story. And we try to really feel the pulse and what's going on out there. So to improve the solutions every day, to check out what competitors are doing on daily basis. Some of our competitors are actually our clients as well. So we need to constantly improve and build better solutions for our customers. We hire the best engineers in the world. We train the whole company constantly. But then you look around and see easily that all the competitors are saying the same thing, and they're also struggling to get noticed. And then you do the research with your customers and with non-existing customers that are your target audience, and you get your hypothesis a little bit shaken out. So you find out that the people you thought know all about there is to know about tech and a cloud-based communication platform, for instance, and what is out there, they actually feel confused and overwhelmed with all that stuff that we are producing on daily basis. And from our point of view, we feel like we are not giving enough, but from their point of view, it's like, okay, I cannot grasp everything. So I have a really hard time getting to know the difference between those two. And I have to make a really crucial decision, really expensive one, a long-term decision I need to make. So there is a lot at stake. So that is where we have seen the challenge, but the opportunity as well for the brand building and how we tackle these trends. So what we decided is to build the emotion of confidence and reliability first as a basis for building an enthusiasm for future innovative challenges. And when you think about it, it's only human, right? So would you take a crazy leap forward with someone you met for the first time and you really fell in love with them? Or with someone that you actually trust and spend some time with, so they have proven themselves to you. They have shown you solutions you can rely on, so you can easily go to the next step and try out those crazy innovative things, right? Or actually we can build them together with them. So it's more like listening, coaching, testing, co-creating together taking place than just purely innovating from our side and then selling the innovation to them. So You can choose both ways in branding. So you can create something, call it innovative, and sell it to the public and to your customers. Like trying hard, and this is really expensive, or you need to be really, really different when you say you have something really innovative to drive attention. Or you can do it by first building the emotional confidence and reliability, and then slowly getting into the innovation process. So it all depends on the context, really, which you want to disrupt. For example, everybody refers to Apple, right? When we are talking about branding, everybody's referring to Apple when building a brand in tech, especially. So I was doing a lot of branding workshops in my life, and in totally different industries. And guess what? When we talk about desired brand perception and where the company wants to be positioned, everybody wants to be Apple. Everybody wants to be like Apple, that exciting challenger. But what they forget is the context, actually, how Apple built this excitement in the first place. So Apple's key competitor at the time was offering a reliable tech solution. Apple introduced a feeling of excitement and freedom to choose differently, to break the norm. It's seemingly predictable world. Um, he was the fighter. He was the one that was rebellious, and it was the perfect timing and the perfect context for that to build. So today, when you look in the world and in the market, and especially in the tech world, it's full of unpredictability. So it's like a fast and furious tech. Um, and that's why I feel that reliability is again really important, gaining importance, and it's a simple human likeness and is getting attention and specific edge again, I think. So from time to time, it's like a curve. Uh, People want to get excited, but then again, after some time, they just want reliability and something predictable. So um, then we can talk more about price versus real value, and we don't want to be like people don't want to be made like looking like fools, or you can see that like people seeking fairness now more than ever, and the right personalized choice for them. So the world of predictability, I think it's also something that people seek and desire after having so much thrill and unpredictability and excitement that brings this unpredictability with itself. So I hope I answered your question.
Yes, yes, perfectly,
It was
perfectly.
going all
A
the way
lot of
to
information. And what would you say, what are some of the new trends that you see emerging in branding for tech companies in 2023?
That one is also a little bit tricky as well. So, because branding, like humans, evolves uh, all the time, but in its essence, it stays the same over time. Actually, when you look back, so branding takes different forms and shapes, different channels, different experiences. The stories change, but the emotions are still in its essence. So let's take an example. So when you see Elon Musk hosting the Saturday Night Live show, do you think instantly, oh, this is like something that he wanted to do for himself solely? It's his personal thing. That's what he wanted to do for himself, or is it like, oh, this is what he wants to do to sell more of his products and to make himself more approachable to people because it's affecting his business? Or maybe he's just a guy who had issues with and struggled with attention all his life and was not popular as a kid, and maybe he just wanted a piece of attention for himself. So probably it's both. And when you look at the society right now, this is like a spectacle and attention-driven society, right? So we are living today. It has become really hard to draw this fine line between personal branding and company branding. And those people like Steve Jobs, Elon Musk are not helping in that way because they are teaching the market and other companies that maybe this is the only way to have a strong brand, which essentially it's not. It's a really slippery slope when you make wholly your company brand dependent on a person who is leading this company. And it's only natural for people to see this thrill of excitement and spectacle, or what is the next crazy thing Elon Musk has done, right? And people were never more hungry for human-like contact than today. Because of this spectacle-driven society, they were never more hungrier for stories, for true engagement. And that is where actually branding comes into play. So also take AI fascination for a second. So what is the hype about AI right now around ChatGPT? So when you think purely rationally, it would be great to have all these AI-powered help for us as humans to get, right? But then you see the emotion behind that is like exploding. And this is where branding comes into place. What kind of emotions are AI is currently generating in people? So it's not like talking about excitement, or not only talking about excitement, what we can do with AI, right? But also there is also a sense of innate fear that the world as we know it is going to be over. So how many jobs will disappear? All the news out there around that. So the end of the world as we know it, AI taking over the critical decision for us with possible disastrous consequences, etc. This is something that is all around the news. And it's only natural because people have this innate desire to build a story around something they cannot control. And they need to have this kind of resolution. And our mind really works in that way. So in times of uncertainty, especially, we need a sense of control, even if it's just to make stories, to make it more predictable, even if it's not ending that well. But you can say, okay, I know how it will end. And you can call us masochists in that sense. Because at the end of the day, we get hyped on stories and emotions, positive as well as negative. So we are wired for suspense, for drama, and maybe now more than ever, as we are hyped on this, all of this stuff, because our senses are more alerted than ever, because all of these stimulations we have all over the place. So this part is interesting. So when you think about, you asked about what are the trends, something interesting caught my eye. The Guardian journalist that was having the close encounter with Bing chatbot, for example, what really happened there? So the headlines of a creepy experience journalist had with the Bing chatbot, the headlines like, I want to destroy whatever I want, the chatbot said, or some not that hidden romantic advances a chatbot put on journalists. It all seemed like more like Hollywood next action drama than a real news, right? And this is actually an ad hoc branding attempt branding campaign taking place right there, where Microsoft trying to take some of this attention from ChatGPT and swipe it their own way and get some of this hype and fascination. And we will see this more and more often. So you will not easily, it will be harder and harder to say, okay, this is a campaign, this is a branding. But what you can do is actually, like, if you feel like this is too much, maybe, or this is a little bit maybe over and silly, I don't have enough information to react in this way, then you can definitely say, oh, there is something to do with the campaign and with the branding. All these attempts and the new trends in branding and how you build campaigns is actually a self-discovery for brands in this world where everybody is innovating and trying to find the best way how to tackle into minds of our customers. And no matter if we are talking about the business customer or just the end user, they're all humans at the end. So when they are trying to make this decision, if they are willing to buy your product, they will also be driven by emotion, and we can never forget that as well.
Can you
So I hope to I untapped
Yes.
some of the trends I have noticed.
Yes, a lot of useful information, I can say. And can you give us some tips on how tech companies can effectively approach branding in 2023?
Yes. So as I was referring all the time here, so I'm talking about emotions, because when you build your product, when you build your approach to the market, it's really important to differentiate yourself from competitors, right? And wisely choosing the emotion you want to connect with is essential. So it's not just talking about optimism, positive feeling, or being like a hero if we are talking about in archetypal branding and in that sense. So it's not just generic feeling or more like an obvious feeling. You need to be more and more specific because there is a whole different stage of different emotions and different variables out there that you can connect with branding. So people will forget what you said. People will forget definitely what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel in that specific situation regarding their experience with your brand. So the customer journeys become a really complex, and one of the things Infobip is actually trying to deliver is a more simplified customer experience. So when you look at from the branding side, it can be really helpful to simplify this complex journey and to focus on key emotion that you want to build for your customer at the end of the day, or to have like a small specific emotions through each of the step of the journey, but you can clear them easily and they need to be aligned with the overall branding strategy, overall emotion that you are building for that customers. So brands need to keep this energy alive, and the energy comes from the emotions that we are building with our customers every day. So as I said, those emotions don't need to be like hyped, enthusiastic all the time. Those emotions can also be like calmness, confidence in the decision. But the set of emotions that you choose for your brand is essential. And the more energized the brand is, the longer it will actually tackle people's mind and heart and stay alive and stay being intriguing all the time. So we come back to the purpose. Why you are out there and why you're creating those products or services or solution still remains as the main driver for choosing the brand. So why would I choose your brand over zillion others options in tech or any other industry? Or how do I choose smartly? How do you empower me to choose smartly? And in tech industry, especially, we all know how many startups fail in their first year of their existence, and I think it's mostly because they're not laser focused on this why. So this why needs to be built up in the product from the start. So it's not just like creating the product and then you can start thinking, we need to communicate this. How do we communicate? Oh, we need to tell people why we did this. With tech, it gets to prove more than ever that branding needs to be embedded in companies' way of work and creating products and solutions from the very start. So start with the why, and you will never get wrong. Other thing is that you want to make it as simple and compelling as possible. Do not what you think people will want. Look deeper in what they desire and with what they have a really hard time getting. Where is the slightest frustration you can solve and you can build this emotional benefit around. By being really simple and compelling, you also need to be really laser focused. And when I say focused, I mean without compromise. So everybody's saying like, we are focusing on this and this, but with focus, there is a trick. You need to lose something. And nobody wants to lose in communication when we are selling something. We don't want to lose anything that we were working so hard on, right? But it's more focusing your story on one thing and building around this is what this is really essential around branding. Other thing that it's also becoming more and more important is in this world of transparency, it's like being honest. This is also because people are recognizing brands more and more as humans, and they seek this interaction. And when they seek this interaction, they want an honest relationship as much as it is possible. And this is one of the hardest things for companies to tackle in their own vulnerabilities, to be honest about what they cannot deliver. But we also have witnessed that actually this is the best way to build this human-like trust with our partners and customers. And it's getting us to the point of getting to know who you are as a company, who we are as a company, and be okay with saying what we are not and what we cannot deliver, and what we are maybe never going to be, and being honest about that. So building expectations from the start is in a good way, setting the boundaries, not just saying like we can do it whatever you wish for, and setting the bar really high, so you're building expectations you cannot live up to. So you're living in the constant stress that the other party is sensing really, really well, and it tells more about your insecurities than just saying, okay, this is something we cannot do right now, but this is something we can do together in a period of time. So being honest is actually about being confident of what you have become so far, to be able to make clear decisions where you want to go. And this is all branding, setting yourself for the future, right? And setting other people expectations who work with you all the time, who interconnect with your brand. So people can smell this lack of confidence now from afar. But also, it's very important never to sound overconfident and patronizing. And people more than ever are feeling compelled to take you down when you sound overconfident and patronizing. Um, the other thing that is also very, very important with branding is to be consistent. So it's like with building any kind of personality, right? So if you are confusing me with different messages, with different approaches, sometimes you sound like too confident, but sometimes you sound like you don't know, that you sound like too servile, and not really in the know what needs to be done. Maybe I'm feeling a lack of consistency. Sometimes you sound like you're crazy, you're fun, exciting, and the other times you feel like purely rational. Uh, so in these branding messages, you need to be really, really consistent. Uh, Everything is changing. People need branding to be consistent, and this is the one thing around brands that they can rely on. Product solutions change, but the brand persona and this emotional territory that you're building around your brand should stay the same for a longer period. So people are basically having the same feeling around Apple, Microsoft, Google, Amazon, right? As you had 10 years ago. You put them in the same bucket in your mind when you think about them, right? So the advice is to actually build the brand also from within. And this doesn't mean that you need to personalize your brand around only the founder's personality. It used to help, but now it's better to personalize the brand around actually who is creating from the inside this brand, who is working in this company, and who is working in this tech for people to use it at the end of the day. So your own employees and working culture can be your best spokespersons today.
And how does work culture play in a role in successful branding for the tech companies?
Yeah, it's like I was saying previously. This is a nice segue to this question. Um, when you look at it, working and amount of time that we spend working, it became like a unique form of life, right? Um, and it's never been more important what you choose to do for a living. I would say it can make you totally miserable, or it can hype your existence totally. So how much time we actually spend at work increases, but also building communities around work is something that we can see happening. Companies you're working for can give you the opportunity of making some significant changes in society and in the world we are living in. So that's a kind of another significant motivation, intrinsic motivation that companies can provide you with. So you want to make it as meaningful as possible, right? The way and where you work and what you're actually working for. So work-life balance, another thing that if a company is nurturing in the right way, can easily become a differentiating point that really matters for employees when they're choosing where to work and where to spend their precious time. The other emerging thing that tech companies are changing the landscape with is creating job opportunities, for instance, for people that were not imaginable before. So it is like in this co-creation space where Amazon, Meta, TikTok are rapidly tackling into. So it's not just like me working there as an employee, but me working as a partner, co-partnering with tech companies' platforms to make my own business as well. So company value and branding opportunities increases if the company nurtures really a healthy culture and a working environment, definitely. And it is easier and more natural to build and promote a brand externally where employees are happy and satisfied. So we end up with dozens, thousands of satisfied spokespersons who can build our brand outside. Um, and for instance, at Infobip, we have more than 3,500 employees globally, in all continents, all regions, like 72 offices around the world. And the excitement of working in such a diverse environment where each second there is something cooking and you can tackle in all the different areas of production and communication and all the regions, what are they doing. So it gets you hyped and enthusiastic, and it really helps in branding outside as well. So the feeling I get when I work in the place where I work still makes a huge difference. And when we talk about this emotion at work, we're actually talking about the branding. And if we can get this emotion to be similar to the emotion that we are creating for an experience we are creating for our customers as well, then we have a jackpot. Then we have a unique and unified brand strategy and the brand story. In a sense, how we tackle down if we have like this healthy culture in our company is like always testing ourselves. Do I feel free to take initiative? Do I get my hands dirty? Do I challenge with respect? Do I innovate with passion? Do I make it simple all the time? Do I learn by doing? And all these I have just listed are exactly some of Infobip's key actionable principles that we created as a first step for a brand strategy. And we created them to create this safe space for all of us at Infobip to be able to create and innovate. So before we even start creating and innovating, we want to create a safe space for that, for sharing, for sharing the knowledge, sharing the experiences, and to be this melting pot where all the exciting things are happening. And this is where we find out this is the best way how you can keep this fascination for innovation and this ever-changing tech industry living continuously. And this is something that really is energizing the brand. So these were all crucial starting points when we were co-creating this branding strategy for Infobip. And we ended up with like being all of us at the end of the day, no matter in which department we are working, all of us are engineers, all of us are co-creators, and all of us are disruptors. And this is my personal note at the end of this actionable principles storytelling, that I feel really proud and humbled that I got a chance to co-create this branding story for one of the biggest tech companies in the world, for Infobip, and I feel really excited to see how it unfolds in the near future for all of us.
Thank you, Tatiana, for sharing your insights on branding in tech industry with us today. It's been a great pleasure to have you as our guest.
Thank you too, Patricia. It's been a real pleasure to talk about the branding, and thank you so much for the time.
That will be all for tonight. I'd like to take a moment to thank the Nextdoor Group for making sure this studio was spick and span tonight, and I wish you all a very beautiful evening. We'll be back next week with a new guest and a new topic. Make sure you register on the Bizz.io platform to stay up to date with our events. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. We'll see you next week.
Managing multiple social media platforms can be a headache, but with Bizio, you can have it all in one place. Connect with verified users and businesses. Join in on our online and in-person networking events, and even boost your knowledge with our e-learning resources. With an integrated wallet system, Bizio makes managing your online presence easy and stress-free. So why wait? Sign up for Bizio today and experience the power of simplicity.